Hello, y'all. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so let's just jump right into our topics for today. Um, there's a couple things I want to discuss. Um, and they have a little bit to do with what's going on right now with the Trump administration and the protests and all that stuff. So we'll just jump right into it, okay? The first topic I'd like to discuss is the topic of Greenland, okay? And I saw an article in the AP, and I'm going to go through a few points from that article, and then we're just going to jump in. So the article states, Hexet says the Pentagon has contingency plan to invade Greenland if necessary, okay? Okay, this caught my attention because I think I've done like a few videos on this topic of them trying to acquire Greenland. And it's just something that I'm just not understanding. And I thought it was dead, but they're still trying to get Greenland. And so the article did give a few points about different things. So let's jump into it, okay? So it says there was a heated congressional hearing where Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was pressed by Democratic lawmakers about his use of the messaging app Signal to discuss military operations, potentially sharing classified information. Hegseth refused to directly answer questions about whether he had shared classified information, stating that the classification markings could not be discussed. Okay, clearly I have a problem with Pete Hegseth. I am not a fan. I am not a fan of his. The hearing also touched on Hegseth's views on women and transgender service members in the military, as well as concerns about the military becoming politicized, particularly after President Trump's speech at Fort Rock. Hegseth also appeared to acknowledge that the Pentagon has contingency plans for taking over Greenland and Panama. I guess I haven't heard much about Panama, though he later clarified that he was not testifying to any such plans. If you mention it and said there is contingency plans, so, like, this guy is not, I don't, he has a few screw loose, as they say, a few screw loose. Okay, so my thing is, the sun is coming up and the sun is like getting in my eyes and all. Well, the sun is going down. I mean, it's getting in my eyes and all that. So I'm trying to find a good spot where I can, get good lighting, but also not have the sun like blaring in my eyes. And every time the sun goes out, it does something, and it does something with the camera. So we'll see how it looks later after I'm done. But I probably won't change anything. But anyways, let's get back into this. And so with this article, I feel that they're just a little bit obsessed with women and transsexuals, like this Trump administration. I don't get what it is. I don't understand why it's like they're so hyper focused on like certain those things, of course, and immigration too, of course. But it seems like homosexuality, women's right, and immigration is like their top three focus, and then they throw in some tariffs in there, and then they're just focused on all. It's just come on. And then of course any little petty thing that the president wants to focus on that's not important at the moment. Okay, especially Pete Hegseth. He seems to be very focused, and I've done something on him. I've done an article on him also. I mean, there's tons of articles. It's just something that I picked. I picked one article and I talk about it. But I've done an article on him where he was so focused on women in the military. Like, he doesn't feel like women belong in the military, basically. That's basically his shtick. And it's really annoying. If he could have it his way, he would have just women in the kitchen. This is just my opinion, okay? Just my opinion. He would have women in the kitchen. He wouldn't have anyone in the military, especially in leadership role in the military. he's trying to make things a little bit more difficult for women. And of course, we do understand, like in the military, you want things to be fair and equal. Yes, we get it. Like if you're going to fight, we want to make sure you're able to fight. But also, we can fight, but we can, us women, we can do certain things. Maybe we don't sometimes have the strength as men, because we're women, so we don't have the strength as men, but we're capable, and he's basically, to me, it seems like he's trying to make it seem as if we are not capable, and I just don't like that. Okay. Yeah, so anyways, he also they also were talking about the signal chat for him. Okay. With the signal chat, what did he say? He said there's the classification mark, like he can't give information about the classification markings on that. It's like, okay, it's classified. Like, what, you can't go back and change history now. Okay, because I think basically what he's trying to say is, oh, I can't give information about the classification markings, as if like it's not like highly classified or whatever the case may be, secret, not, whatever it is. He's trying to basically say that it may have been something that was not, the classification where it was open to everybody. Basically, I think that's what he's trying to get at without actually saying it. But we know that's not the truth. You gave out classified military information, like on a group chat, okay, on this signal chat. So let's keep it real. Oh, the sun is moving. It's moving. Let me move my camera. Nope. Move this way. Okay, y'all just have to see the sun in my eyes. Ooh, and it seems like as soon as the sun hit the thing, you can see all the spots on my, just highlights all the spots on my forehead. But anyways, so yeah, he's saying he cannot discuss, the classification markings cannot be discussed. It's like, oh, come on, sir. Come on, we know you already discussed it with your, and I think they said he even did a different chat. Again, another article that I found said he even did a different group chat where he had like his wife on there, his wife and like brother-in-law or brother or something like that. And I'm just like, sir, you don't learn your lesson. You didn't learn your lesson from the first group chat, where it talks about you're giving away, where, war, where you're giving away the classified information on a war that's happening. You didn't learn your lesson on that, but you're still going to involve your wife and brother and all that stuff in another group chat. I would just let the group chat go. Just let it go. Okay, let me move this back a little bit. Wow, the sun is really like shining through today. I'm not sure what's going on, because usually I do this around the same time, and the sun does its thing, but not so much. Okay, there we go. It's like directly in my eyes. Or maybe I need to move back a little bit. So maybe I'll just move this. There we go. Okay, I'll probably edit that out. And if I'm not able to, okay, so I'll probably edit that out. If it's still in there, oh well. Oh well. It'll be candid. This is candid, okay? But anyways, boy bye. Boy bye. So then, I guess what they mentioned in this article too, which is the main point, which is why I clicked on the article, was because they talked about Greenland. Okay, Panama is something new. I had to look that up, and I guess they want Panama because of the Panama Canal. It's a big trade. It's big in the trade. It's big in the trade for the U.S. So I guess that's why that's important to them to want to acquire Panama. But I think Greenland was the main focus. But they're saying, there's no plan to actually, from when I Google, like there's no plan to actually, like there's no set in stone plan to actually acquire, but it's just like in thought. It's just like in talks. I'm sorry, not in thought, in talks about Panama. But for Greenland though, I'm just like, I am surprised he would even say that. I'm surprised that he would even say anything about Greenland. What did he say? A contingency plan to invade Greenland if necessary. I'm surprised that was even a conversation. Because if you remember, for Greenland, they had said, the Prime Minister of Greenland says, you must be out your mind if you think you're going to come and get Greenland. Because President Trump was like, I am going to get Greenland by any means necessary. And the Prime Minister was like, absolutely not. I think those are his words too. Absolutely not. Like, he was not playing. He's like, you're not coming to get Greenland. Like, leave us alone. We want nothing to do with you. We're minding our own business over here. But President Trump said by any means necessary. And now you're saying, oh, we have contingency plan to invade. So to me, I'm like, it seems like they're trying to go for it, and it still doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, Panama doesn't make any sense either. But I mean, I understand it's big for trade and all that stuff. And if you want to, and I guess they're saying, oh, it may be like China may be doing more deals within the Panama Canal and with Panama. So because of that, they kind of want to get Panama because of that. But I don't know. Okay, you can clearly tell there's a lot about politics I don't know, but the stuff that I do know, I'm just like, just leave people alone. Just leave them alone. If they don't want to get involved, they're not bothering nobody, they're minding their own business like Greenland is. And with this, it's like one of those things where Greenland is like, leave us alone. You don't even have to understand politics to understand people want to be left alone. It's just one of those things. Okay? So yeah, I'm just surprised that this is even still a conversation, this Greenland conversation. I think Hegseth, the president, they should just focus on more domestic issues that we're having. Even though they're hyper-focused on the immigration, they're super hyper-focused on that. But I think they should just be more focused on domestic issues and leave other people alone. Period. Okay? Okay. So that's all I had to say about that. Okay, so now I do have something to say about a protest. So there'll be protests going on. I mean, they've been protests going on, recently. A lot of protests going on, right? But there'll be like a big protest going on tomorrow, Saturday. And it's called the No Kings protest, okay? And there's an article that gives like a little synopsis of exactly like what's going on. It'll be in the description if you want to click on it. And I'll read like, again, the synopsis of what's going on with that, okay? And what it is, okay? So, and this is from the AP as well. And I like the Associated Press because they give the news as is. There's no opinion with what they just give you the news as it is, and you can come up with your own opinion from what they give you facts, and they're really good at that. So I generally like to look to see if I see a topic and I want to learn more about it or I want to share more about it. I generally look at the AP News because I know that they're going to have, and they have good writers, okay? I know they're going to have like, these unbiased like articles for me to like share and create my own biased opinion. Anyways, so the No Kings protests are being organized by, it's called the 50501 movement, okay? And the 50501 movement, it's the 50 states, 50 protests, one movement. That's what they're called. 50 state, 50 protests, one movement. And it's a national movement of everyday Americans who stand against the authoritarian actions of the Trump administration. Okay, the protests are scheduled to take place on June 14th, that's tomorrow, which is Trump's 79th birthday and Flag Day. To counter the Army 250th anniversary celebration that Trump had ratcheted up to include an expensive, lavish military parade. Okay, his 79th birthday, this guy. See, he's 79. He is too old to be carrying on the way he does. 79 years old, like, sir, you are too old to be carrying on with the shenanigans. You are too old. Like, maybe he think he's gonna live forever. Maybe he think he's 29, like, and he has more years to pack on. Like, I don't know, but all the things, you can't imagine that this guy, this president of the United States, the way he acts, the way he operates, how petty he is. You can't imagine that this is a 79-year-old man. And maybe he's lost some of his scruples. Maybe some things aren't just not up there. Like that show where the queen kind of protected her king. What was it? What show? I don't even remember what show I'm talking about, but maybe y'all can't remember what show. I guess the king was losing his mind, and so the queen, she would protect the king from anybody knowing like what's going on with him, so nobody would, guess like, hey, he's losing his mind. And I'm sure that's not the case because I haven't heard anything from Melania. Melania is like the silent first lady. I don't ever hear her talk. I don't even know, what does she even sound like? I don't even know. Okay, so I doubt that's the case with her. But I feel like maybe my whole point is that maybe he's losing his scruples. Maybe he's the leader that's kind of losing his scruples. He's not a king by any means. That's hence the protest, the name of the protest. Okay, but it's like maybe he's losing his scruples a little bit, and maybe that's what it is, because he's too old to be at with his age. He should know better. He should 100% know better. But anyways, I digress. Let me continue. The protesters aim to reject authoritarianism, okay, billionaire first politics, and the militarization of the country's democracy. The protests will happen in nearly 2,000 locations around the country, except in Washington, D.C. That's where the military parade will be held. This military parade that he's basically, even though it's supposed to be like the Army 250th anniversary, I think this man is thinking it's for him. He's basically doing it to celebrate his birthday. Like, he's bigging up himself, basically. Like, it's for him, okay? Like, this is a parade for me in celebration of myself. So, I cannot. Okay. So instead, the group plans to hold a flagship march and rally in Philadelphia. The protests are expected to be the largest single-day mobilization since Trump returned to office, with organizers preparing for millions of people to take the streets across all 50 states and commonwealths. Okay? So, also with this, the article did say that the governor of Texas, Governor Greg Abbott, okay, he's kind of following behind the president, and he's doing the same thing, okay? He's ordered the deployment of more than 5,000 Texas National Guard troops, more than 2,000 state police, and this is going to be in response to, he said, the ongoing demonstrations and in preparation for the No Kings protests. So he's doing this, okay? And I think some other states are doing it too. What state did I just see? Was it? I forgot what state, man. I just see did the same thing as well. I think I saw it this morning. I don't remember. But I feel other states are following suit. Is it Florida? Is it Florida that's kind of following suit and ordering like their National Guard? I don't know. What state was it? But anyways, that's not the main focus. The focus is that they're going to basically be doing this protest. And, I've also read that the Walmart Harris, Christy Walton, I've also read that she's in support of this protest. She's, what did they say? They said she got like an ad. She got an ad out in the paper, like made an old ad out for this protest. Like that's how much she's in support of this No Kings protest. Okay. Also says she's not worried about the backlash because apparently MAGA has been getting on her for this. Like, but she's not worried about the backlash from MAGA. And MAGA is just the Make America Great Againers, you know, all the people for that. So like the Fox people, you know, got something to say to her because all of them, the majority of them, not all of them, you know, are MAGAs. And apparently all these people got something to say, but she don't care. She's like, get out there and do what y'all have to do and support, and I'm going to support y'all in this. And the only reason why I'm mentioning this is because this whole movement, they say, is against like the billionaire ideals, right? Like, and they're trying to like, because, you know, when Trump has all these like billionaires behind him, right? Like supporting him. And so because of that, it makes, I think, people feel like they don't have much say because everything he do is for those 1%ers. Almost everything he does, he's not considering anybody else but the 1%ers, right? Those billionaires. So I feel like the fact that she's a billionaire and she's kind of pushing her weight around, I feel like that's something that people like can be like, oh, you know what? That's what's up. You know, it's, you want the people who you're protesting against, if one of them stepped back and said, okay, I'm going to join y'all. It's basically saying, I see there's an issue too. I see there's a problem too. I get it, you know? And so I think most people want that. Okay. And I'm glad she's kind of standing up to this, the craziness of Trump and his crazy bullying tactics. I'm glad, you know, she's saying, hey, I'll do whatever, because she got a little bit of coin that she can put behind it. The rest of us, you know, we can protest, but we ain't got that. So we can protest all we want, but sometimes it may not do anything. But if you got folks in high places like backing things, it can make a difference. Okay. People are basically fed up with everything that's going on. They're fed up with all the lies. They're fed up with all the tariffs. They're fed up with all the political gaslighting. They're fed up with all of it, you know, with all the immigration issues, people not getting due process. You know, they're fed up with the loss of jobs. They're fed up with it all. Okay. And it's like, it just seems to be getting worse. It seems to be getting worse, and it doesn't seem to be getting better anytime soon. And so people don't like that, you know? And so when people don't like those things, they're going to start standing up for themselves. And in this case, they're protesting. So the thing is, when you think of all this, it's like, because the whole point is that it's called the No Kings protest, right? Because the whole thing is that we don't have a monarch. We don't have kings. We don't have queens, you know? And those things are kind of cool. We look at it and we look at other countries that has those things. And we're like, oh, that's kind of cool. You still have a king from, you know, it seems like really old timey, you know? You still have a king, you know, you still have a queen. Oh, you're a princess, you're a prince, you know? It seems, it's kind of cool, but, you know, what we want, why America is so good and why America is so great, honestly, because I think America is great. We don't need to make it great again. You know, we need to make things better. You know, things can be better. But it's a country that everybody's trying to come to. So I've always said that. I don't feel like it needs to be made great again. I just think there's things that can be made better. Because in terms of it being a country where people come to make dreams come true, it's great, okay? But in terms of rights, like civil rights and women's rights, and there's certain things that, you know, in terms of corruption and there's certain things that can be better, right? It's not as horrible as other countries, because other countries are dealing with corruptions in government bad, okay? So it's not as bad as other countries, but yeah, could it be better? Of course it can be better. But if people are dying to come here, it lets you know about a country. It lets you know what type of country this is. Still, at the end of the day, like at the end of the day, it lets you know what kind of country this is. Okay, um, and so we have a democracy, right? So this is the U.S., the United States of America. It's set up as a republic, but even though it's set up as a republic, we still have a democracy, and I think people don't want to lose that. They're not willing to give that up, right? And so they're willing to protest because we're not a monarch again. So they're willing to protest to keep that. In a monarch, things are done differently. You know, they don't have some of the rights we have, the for the people, by the people type situation. They don't really have that, and we do. You know, we get to vote who we want. We get to have a voice to make a difference. You know, we don't have one person saying this is it. You know, we don't live in a totalitarian society. We don't live in authoritarian society. You know, we have those rights. We have a right to determine what party we want to be a part of, right? Yes, again, this is a republic and we have a democracy, but we also have different parties. We have Republican Party, Democratic Party, we have liberal parties, we have you know, we have all different type of views, right? And we can be a part of whatever party we want, to vote for whoever we want. Now the voting system is still kind of jacked to me. We still need to work. See, that's another thing that we can make better. You know, even though this is a great country, there's things again that we can work on making better in general. And our voting system is one thing that we can work on making better, right? So it's not better, but we like it. We like what we have. And, you know, we don't want to change that part of what we have. We just want to make things better. And we don't want someone who's trying to make it worse or completely trying to change it. Okay. And so, I'm for the protests. I don't know. Are y'all going to be, I'm going to be working. So are y'all going to be out there in the protests? Are you going to be protesting, supporting? I know I'll sign whatever petition I need to sign. I'm for that. Whatever I need to sign to make sure things get done, I'm signing it. When we need to sign an impeachment stuff, I'm signing it. Okay, send me all the things. I'm gonna sign whatever in protest of this president of the United States, because I think things can be better. You know, and just because we're not for the president doesn't mean we're not for the United States, because I'm for the United States. I'm for the United States of America. I love America. I don't have no problems with America, you know, but we have a president and an administration who's trying to make things worse. We don't want to go back. We want to move forward. We want better. You know, we want things to change and be better. So that's all I have to say on that. Let me know your thoughts, okay? Thank y'all for joining me. Thank y'all. Have a good one. Bye.